Join David and Ross as they become discombobulated in Dorset. From pixies to poltergeists, witches to woodrows, hear them explore the legends, folklore, and outright weirdness of their own county. This is Dark Dorset, the podcast of Weird Horses.
Hello, I'm Ross in Dorchester.
I'm David in Wareham.
And this time,
Hello.
we look at Spectral Swanage.
Well, my headphones are falling off.
Yeah, and this time...
You're not taking this seriously, Ross.
You're not. And this time, we look at Spectral Swanage, although neither of these places are strictly in Swanage, so if we end up doing Swanage, we might have to use that again. But they are near to Swanage. So before we start, David, what are you drinking? What local booze are you...
I don't have any local booze. I have a Brewgooder beer that's a collaboration with Siren, whose beers I've had before. I think we did a Siren and cheese tasting thing in lockdown Australia. That's quite nice. That's a hazy IPA, which is good. But because it's Burns Night,
oh yes,
I also have a whiskey on the go.
Oh, I could have got a whiskey.
Yeah, which smells glorious. It's an Ardbeg. It's the 5 Wee Beastie, and it's ever so drinkable and ever so smoky, but very sweet.
I'm drinking my current favourite beer, which I've discovered. This is Jurassic. Is it just called Jurassic? I can't see it's
Yeah, you had this last time.
Yeah. Well,
and when you say favourite beer, free beer, you mean? Gifted beer.
I went and bought,
it's Chesil.
It's Chesil, Jurassic Chesil, because I drank all the ones that my sister bought me, and I went and bought more.
This is a lager. You're drinking a lager.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really... It's a Pilsner. What's a Pilsner? Is that
a lager?
It's a lager, is it? Well, it's my favourite.
It's in a brown bottle, so it looks brown.
Okay. And it tastes of biscuits, apparently.
Lager-flavoured biscuits.
Yeah, it's a Pilsner, 4.1%. Colour, straw gold. Smell, herbal grassy. Someone once told me that cum smells of mown lawns. And I never got that myself, but if anyone says something smells of grass, and then I might cut that out.
But, yeah, we'll just gloss over that one.
and it tastes of crisp biscuits. But it's
I think horse cum probably smells of grass because they eat grass, don't they?
Yeah, and it tastes like it as well. So, yeah. Okay, so we went to 2 locations near Swanage the other weekend.
We did.
Which the first, David picked one of them, and I picked the second. So maybe we'll start with David to start first.
We decided we really needed to get out after Christmas, even though we'd seen each other at Christmas anyway, which was fab. But we decided to get out and about. The weather's been horrendous. It's been raining, and then it's been frosty and icy cold. But we got out, and it was cool. And we went to Ulwell first, which is very close to Swanage. It's they kind of merge into one, really. So it's on the left-hand side, depending on which way you're looking at Swanage. And the legend we were investigating there dates back to the 17th, 18th century, and it's a legend of a toll gate that automatically opened of its own accord late at night when a traveller would pass by. And
that is pretty much the extent of that legend, but but the reason why, who's haunting it is a little bit. But before we get there, I got my book of Dorset place names, and I need to talk about Ulwell, because this is probably got the coolest place name reason I've got so far.
No pressure, Ross.
No pressure. Ulwell, it says in Swanage. First time it was ever picked up was Holwell, which is in 1236. Then Ulwell, then Ulwell, and then it ended up being as Ulwell. But it means the well or spring frequented by owls, which I thought was quite cool.
Like it. And
we saw the water bubbling out of the ground while we were there, didn't we? We did. We saw spring, actually water spurting out of the concrete. But so yeah, it comes from the Old English of ul and well. So
you can see why there'd be wells there, because it's right in the middle of a gorge. With the Purbeck Ridge coming down from either side. So
yeah, and even with the pump house, which is there was still water just coming out of the ground because it was so wet there. But yeah, the idea that there's owls there as well, it just adds to the spookiness of it all. But David,
yes.
why is the toll house?
Ulwell is in Swanage. So I thought this would be fun. It would be nice and easy, and if we couldn't find the exact gate mentioned in the legend, that we'd be able to find a gate or a gate nearby, which was the case again. So looking up on the old charts and maps, I found a record of toll gates, and it listed that the toll gate at Ulwell was closed in 1829, but it gave a grid reference of where it used to be. So we drove nearby, we managed to park very nearby, and we approached the grid reference, and there were no gates there, but it was on the main road from Studland down through Ulwell into Swanage. So you could see why it would have been a main route of sorts. It's not right on the big traffic byways and highways.
What the fuck was that? This is the second time this story is... Okay, what was that, David, that fell down?
That was just something falling off my shelf behind me.
What was it, though?
It was a bag.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
okay.
It shouldn't have been there, but it was... Yeah, bloody hell.
Second time. Okay. We will come explain the first time in a moment, but yeah.
We went to the gate, or we went to where the gate used to be, and there was a stile there next to the road with a sign to a couple of footpaths. So we started filming a piece, very much just introducing the legend, like I have done, and Ross asked me what I thought of it, and I told him it was totally made up and utter crap.
Mm-hmm.
And the legend is that a witch who had taken the form of a cat was killed at or near the toll gate, and subsequently put a spell on the gate so that passers-by late at night, it would open for them. And I thought, I told Ross this was rubbish, because witches can't turn into cats.
And the six fingers ghost.
Yeah, the six fingers ghost. And it was probably just the chap who was in charge of the toll gate would go to the pub late at night and leave it open.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very quiet road and no one would pass. We then decided we'd have a look up the footpath, see if we could find a gate nearby just to film it.
So what was on it? It was Seven Barrow Ridge or something?
It was... footpath is at the bottom of Round Down, mm-hmm. on the way to Seven Barrows. So the first little hill we climbed was Round Down, and it overlooks Godlington Hill, and there's meant to be a giant's grave there, Ross, as well.
We missed that. Okay.
Yeah, we missed that. So up we went, very steep hill, two overweight, underfit chaps huffing and puffing their way at the top. Got to the top, amazing views of Swanage, out across the beach, out to sea. Couldn't find a gate there, so we kept trolling along the little footpath, and about 100 metres long, we found a gate.
Mm-hmm. And the gate had quite a high amount of security on it, considering it was a gate in the middle of nowhere. So
it looked like cameras, it had a camera, didn't it?
Yeah,
but it
CCTV,
might have, like infrared. A PIR sensor.
Yeah, but the gate was wide open. There was signs telling people they can't go any further than this, so maybe they've had trespassers or something, but the gate was still wide. There was two gates. They probably got terms, a smaller gate for walkers and a larger gate for vehicles.
Yeah, there was a larger gate on the farm track, and there was a smaller wooden gate that marked a footpath right of way.
Mm-hmm.
So Ross got his camera out again, and we turned around to face the camera with the gate behind us. And about 3 or 4 words into Ross's explanation of why we were there, the gate suddenly flew open, hit me on the side, and knocked me off my feet. Clean knocked me off my feet, stumbling to the floor in the mud and the grass. Yeah. Knocked my car keys out of my pocket. I was very lucky to find those accidentally. I didn't know they were missing. Yeah. And got a proper bruise on my arm.
My wife said that you should not be friends with me because all I did was laugh and make sure I was filming myself for a bit before I turned to Hamilton.
Yeah, you did.
So sorry.
You did. Yeah. It very much felt like something didn't want us to be there. I instantly regretted dissing the story of the cat and the witch and the tollgate owner and the legend. It was. Yeah, we were the only people up on that hill, and it was very bizarre.
I would say it was very, very windy. However, the gate was shut. It would have blown because it was windy the whole time. There wasn't a sudden gust of wind. If you watch the video, there's a video which accompanies this. If you go to YouTube and put in Dark Darset, you can find it on there. Or go to darkdarset.com and follow the link. You'll see the gate was shut, and it's been wind. And the whole time we travelled there, the wind was blowing. So if the wind was going to blow open the gate, I imagine would have blown open the gate by that point. The fact that we were just standing there at that point, there we go. So we've talked about this story once, and the gates flown open and hit David. Talked about it on the video, and something just jumped off of his shelf behind him and nearly brained him. So David is not being possessed by the...
Well, I'm going to take ghosts a bit more seriously. I'm going to give them some time of day, I think, but not much else. And I'm going to maybe wear a helmet wherever I go. So I looked into witches and cats, and why they're related. And witchcraft actually comes from the term craft of the wise. And witches used to be quite a good thing. They were thought of as people that could heal the sick, and being close to nature. So cats were quite common because they liked nature and pets, and so cats would be there. And it wasn't until the 16th century when the Christian church got involved and started telling people that witches were bad because they were kind of stepping on their territory, weren't they, and making people better. And then cats were said to be bad. I think the nocturnal state of them didn't really help. People thought they were supernatural, and of course the black cats at night, you can't really see where they are, so they got the curse more than the others.
Oh, yeah.
But still, a witch can't turn into a cat and then put a curse on the gate.
Yeah, or be And as we were saying, just tell a simple story well. Don't say it was a witch that turned into a cat, which got killed and got turned into a ghost, which then possessed the gate. It feels like a lot of that yes-anding going on there. But even though that's a very, very complicated story, the only evidence we could find of it was like 2 lines. So, but there we go. I wish we knew about the giant's grave, because that would have been interesting as well. But I think
that's you remember when we came down the hill and we looked up to the left, and there was the kind of valley, the grass valley, kind of coming down from the left. There was a burial mound up there, wasn't there? There was a circular thing.
It's called Seven Barrow. What's it? There must be 7 of them up there somewhere. Which is
I think that's the 7 Barrows is slightly further along.
Yeah. So
Well, 9 Barrow down.
9. That's what I mean. Sorry. Yeah. I can never remember numbers on. I'm dysnumeric.
This is podcast number 138.
We'll definitely be going back to that area because of Corfe Castle has got lots of legends, and we can probably do a Corfe Castle special in the summer. David, you're just saying that whiskey was not very drinkable, but the look on your face there when you just
it's quite hot. It's nice.
Nice, right? So after we left the Well of the Owls, and we travelled up the road a little bit to Studland, mainly famous around here because it's a nudist beach. But just off of the beach, there is also a car park and a church called St. Nicholas Church, which, to be honest, I've been there a couple of times, not to go to the nudist part of the beach, but I never even noticed there was a church by that car park.
That's because we always walk out of the car park the other way where the pub is.
Yeah, exactly. So add a little bit. So the reason we went to St. Nicholas Church was because in a chapter of Dorset Tales of Mystery and Murder called Strange Burials, it says that this church was actually built on the site of older churches and older holy sites. They reckon that the current church there was built. It's a Norman church, so it would have been built at the beginning of the 9th century. But prior to that, there was another church there which would have been was sacked by the Vikings, which came up and sacked Wareham. Apparently, Wareham was sacked a few times by the Vikings.
That's why we had to build a wall in the end
to keep them away. We can do one about the wall of Wareham at some one point, I think. But when in the 1950s, 1951, a gravedigger was excavating a grave in the grounds of St. Nicholas Church, and he hit something hard, and it turned out to be a large stone slab. And when he pulled that up, it was actually the lid of a stone coffin, and inside the stone coffin was a skeleton. The skeleton was of a 30-year-old woman, but what was unusual was the fact that her head had been removed, and it had been placed by her feet, and also her jaw had been removed. And also in that grave, they found a spindle made of shell from Kimmeridge with seashells accompanying the body. And they reckon it might have been a Bronze Age burial. But they reckon that back then, in order to stop the ghost of someone, of a tormented person who died, so there was obviously something going on with this person. In order to stop them coming out from the dead, you would remove their head. And in order to stop them cursing, you'd remove their jaw. So that is why we went to that church originally, to just be on the grounds of this headless, cursed Bronze Age woman. But what we also found out was that, so the church has some corbels, or corbels, which are pieces of, they can either be wood or they can be stones, which they kind of jut out underneath the roof, which is it holds the weight of the roof. Because we were saying the roof on this place must have been really heavy because it's made of massive slabs of stone.
Corbel is also a fabulous beer by Harassed Brewery.
Is it? All right.
I think I had one on one of the earlier podcasts. Yeah.
So you can have decorative corbels or corbels. And what's we didn't realise until we went there that this had some very pornographic corbels on there. So there's two figures copulating on there. There's at least two men who've had their phalluses knocked off. And we saw one, but apparently there's two Sheela gigs, which are famous sculptures, and apparently there's only 51 Sheela gigs in the UK. So we saw two of them.
49 to go.
Yeah, 49 to go.
Although they look very impressive on the internet when you're doing the research, but when you're actually there and you can't zoom in any closer with your camera, they're bloody miles away.
Yeah. But the fact he was saying, I can't see the Sheela gig. I need to zoom in. I need to get up there closer. So
yeah, it didn't go down well with the parishioners that were walking in for their church service on the Sunday morning.
Yeah, I think that one's got his knob knocked. But there was also there's some great. I want to go down again and draw some.
There's some very beautiful, simplistic figures and heads, and very geometrical. They're really stunning.
So a Sheela gig. So I've got to be careful with this, because there's lots of different interpretations of what a Sheela gig is, and it has been appropriated somewhat by sort of feminist thinking, and I really want to be careful that I don't offend anyone or misinterpret this or anyway. All I would say from my research, it looks like there's a variety of different interpretations of it, but some people feel very strongly about what it does mean. So a Sheela gig is a female figure, often an old hag type figure, often with large pendulous breasts, and they are presenting often an oversized vulva, as in pulling apart the part of the body. There's a couple of schools of thoughts about why these are found particularly on churches and bridges and castles in Ireland. There's how many in Ireland? 101 in Ireland. And
that's too many. That's too many. We should stick with the 49 in the UK.
Yeah, 45. We've got 45 in there's 45 in Britain. Sorry, so there's even less. So the fact that we saw a building had two, that's pretty good. So they reckon they could be a warning against the sexual temptation of women. That's why they think they might be on churches. But some people believe that they are actually older sort of like female fertility goddesses, which have been appropriated into sort of Christian sites. Some people say that it's about because it's often an older woman, but also showing a reproduction, or it's depicting like the circle of life, like the woman gets old, but also new life comes out of the woman and all that kind of stuff. It's what interesting, it's these things which are just like in churches, and you don't unless you're looking for them, know they're there.
I know it was pretty cool to go looking for the one grave and then realised the site was quite famous for something else, which we would have probably not noticed because you have to look up. Some are more detailed than others, some are more weathered than others.
Yeah.
And to find such a rare and ancient kind of figure carved in one of those was pretty cool.
Yeah, some people do almost like pilgrimages to go round and see them all. I was listening to a podcast of an American lady who describes herself as a goddess of sorts, and she came to the UK to go and be in the presence of all of these. We should hide in the hedge, and then when they come through, we should slam the gate into them and knock them off their feet. That sounds quite aggressive, David.
Did you know there was a Royal Navy ship named Sheela the Gig?
Really? No, didn't know that.
Yeah, in 1840.
Oh.
Apparently.
So,
yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder why they called it that. But they're not sure what the word means either. There's the etymology of the name. So they think it could be that they reckon it might mean the old hag of the breasts. But the fact that they haven't all got breasts, and something like E.T., when you look online, it looks like a pornographic E.T., as in like Steven Spielberg's one. Something else interesting, we didn't get to go inside because, like David was saying, it's still a church which looks like well used. There was a lot of people going in there, which was quite nice to see.
Oh, we didn't see anyone come out.
No, there's also
spooky. That's not natural.
But apparently, they think that it was used by smugglers in the 16th and 19th centuries to hide contraband inside the church as well, which is pretty cool. And the other thing is that the tower is on a 16-inch kilter because they built the church on sandy soil. But as I was saying to David, I'm sure Jesus did a parable about not building your church on sandy soil, which the people of Studland promptly ignored, and then covered their church in phalluses and vulvas. So, and some really heavy roof tiles. They were proper slabs of rock, weren't they? No wonder it's sliding down a bit. Yeah, but I'm definitely going to go back and have a look inside there again. Did a little bit of research on who St. Nicholas was. He was the saint of fishermen in the sea. That's right. Sailors, merchants, archers, repentant thieves, children, brewers, pawnbrokers, and students. And it's in a fabulous place, that church, because it does overlook all of Studland Bay. Yeah, and it's got an amazing graveyard as well. I wanted more time just to look at all the different graves in there, and it looks like it's still it's still an expanding graveyard. Yes. People are still being buried there. One of the things St. Nicholas did, which I thought was quite cool, was he chopped down a tree that was possessed by a demon. So going on to we've got gates which have been possessed by cat witches. St. Nicholas chopped down a tree which was possessed by a demon. I don't know how, what the problem about a possessed tree would be. It's not like it can get up and... No, how do you tell it's possessed? Yeah. You just avoid it as well. Even if it is possessed, it's not going to do any harm, is it? Anything else about St. Nicholas Church and the vulvas or the vaulted vulvas? No, I don't think so. Cool. What else do we normally do on this? I can't remember. We say it's not natural. It's not natural. There we go. We've got that one there. So, we've had haunted gates. We've had giants' graves, headless Iron Age women, and we've got stone fannies. And that's not bad for a couple of hours on a Sunday morning within half an hour from your house, is it? Yeah, it's good. It's good.
If you knows of any weirdness you'd like to share with Dave and Ross, you can tell them by email at darkdorset@gmail.com or talk to them on Twitter at darkdorset. Well, until next time, stay discombobulated. Stay discombobulated. Stay discombobulated. Stay discombobulated. Stay discombobulated.
We need to find a black dog as well.
A black dog.
A black dog.
Yeah, there's lots of black dog pubs as well, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, including one we went to a long time ago with some colleagues. Mm-hmm. I watched a man be sick over someone.
Hello, I'm Ross in Dorchester, as David picks his nose.
I wasn't. I had something in my mouth, part of dinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
And David is...
Do you even know the difference between a nose and a mouth?
Not in the dark. Start again.
Oh, pardon me.
Oh dear.
Do cut that one out. Yeah. I'd pause so you can cut that one out, and if you don't, you're an arse. 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 You're an arse.